to the edge, they said. We are afraid, they said. Come to the edge. We are afraid. Come to the edge. They came, and they pushed, and they flew. How many of us have been to the edge? And we had to fly. And we were given wings. We were given what we needed. Every woman in this room knows what I'm talking about. And it may be very personal, but deep down we all know that we've been given enormous capacity. And whence cometh our help? We could probably all answer, our help cometh from the Lord who created us. I'm very privileged to be with you this morning. And the Episcopal Church Women is not an organization to which I belong or have been affiliated with, because most of the churches that I have been with have been Daughters of the King. So I've actually began my first retreat here at St. Philip's years ago when I first came. In fact, it was just before I went to Norway for the training, an auspicious time. And I also was at Lenore, at the church there, Canton, and St. Francis, Rutherfordton, or as I've been taught, Rutherfordton. So this room is filled. Look around. But there are some other souls here with us that I want to honor. At the close of our time today, we'll do something that in our mindfulness meditation class, we often dedicate the merit at the end, because there's so much beautiful substance at the end of a time of dedication to meditation and mindfulness. But I like to begin with a ritual that I've never done before. It's the edge, right? This is my promise to myself and to all of you. This morning we're going to go to the edge together, and we'll fly together. So what I'd like to do is something I've never done, but it's in my heart to do. Because this morning when I woke up, I began thinking of my great-grandmother. Her name was Leah Corinne Cox Miller. And I never knew her. She was long gone by the time I came. But it was her spirit that I think I grew up into. She was a concert pianist. Why I had to play this morning. And I just feel her grit and her strength to be alive at a time when she was sent off to the music conservatory in South Georgia, and they wouldn't let her come home because everybody else on the plantation had cholera. And when she did come home, they were all dead. And my great-great-grandfather was the country doctor, Thomas Bright Miller. They met and married. So you can fill in the blanks, right, to the rest of the story. I've also already used some very powerful words, right? Plantation, and you know the time period. So you know what flows in these veins. And also, recently I had a dream. I didn't ever think I would share this, but I do feel that I'm speaking with just you, just one person. This is really just you I'm talking to. You think there's a room full, but it's just you. So this is just between you and me. I dreamed the rivers of Georgia that I love so much were flowing with blood. That's what was in my dream. And I woke up and I thought, what is this? And I, for the first time in my life, put together the two great griefs of my life. What we did to the Cherokee, and I say we because it was my ancestors. I mean, they weren't involved. They were in South Georgia farming or being a doctor or whatever. But it was the Europeans who came and moved them from their homes. Could you today imagine someone coming to you and saying you have to move now? Take what you can walk with or get on a wagon with? Can you imagine that? We did that. And we've never reckoned with it. I mean, we talk about it, but I wanted to kind of call that out this morning for some reason. But here's the thing I've never done before. I want you right now to consider who you brought with you. Who is your elder? Who is in your lineage that's sitting here with you? Who is that? There'll be someone come to mind. It won't probably be anyone you know. It might be. It could be someone you met and knew as a grandparent, or it might be a historical figure, but someone came with you today. It's a woman. Someone is sitting right with you right now. So what I want you to do is just be with her and thank her for coming with you and being with you. And then I want you to turn to the person next to you. Say her name. And then say thank you to the person who said that. And then say your ancestor's name. So 2 things. Say your ancestor's name who came with you, and thank you. Can we do that? If we're not an even number, I'll be a partner. Turn to the person next to you. There's no stories here, just 2 words. The name and thank you. That's it. Thank you all for sharing. And welcome, everyone. Some of you weren't cheating. You just brought who wanted to come. Some of you had more than one. That's allowed. In fact, one of the things we say in forest bathing is everything is welcome here. It's been a hard thing to live into, but I'm learning. Think about it. When we say everything is welcome here, how does your body feel? It just relaxes. It is here, so why not welcome it? You know, when I first started guiding walks, sometimes there'd be a loud motorcycle on Highway 9, and I would go, oh, I'd cringe, and I'd go, wait, everything is welcome here. That's a human being driving down the road. May he be safe. May he be well. There's just something shifts in the nervous system. And you'll learn today some real good tools that I've brought for you that will help you and feed you along the way. Because sometimes life is very, very hard. How could we be other than kind? So today we're going to practice kindness. It's called metta, loving kindness. We're going to practice it. That doesn't come till a little later, but that came up right now for me to share it. But I wanted to say that when we learn that, and you can borrow that if you like, everything is welcome here. How many words is that? Everything is welcome here. 4 words. So you can take that home, write it down, and contemplate. We're also going to practice contemplation today, which is the expansiveness of all of it. Meditation is one thing, which is a wonderful skill to cultivate. Concentration is another skill that we'll practice today. But contemplation is the umbrella over all, and it is so rich because it uses all of our being, our whole body, mind, heart. And that's how we quiet what is called the monkey mind, or the busy talking mind, thinking mind, knowing mind, blah, 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 blah. That mind. We quiet that mind. And then as we get quiet and quieter and still and slow down some more, the wisdom and compassion naturally arises in us because that's our true nature. That's our true nature. That's our true nature. And we will tap into that today and really practice ways to come back again and again to our true nature and actually take refuge there, here. I have a teacher who really says, Maddie, there is no there, it's here. So we will take refuge here in this beautiful heart. You might like to take your hand right now and just lay it on your heart and say thank you to those people who just showed up. Thank you. somebody else, I wasn't the only one who had a great-grandmother. I was so happy somebody else did, because, see, I don't know why she came to me this morning. I've never met her. I just know about her. But those stories have lived on, and somehow she showed up today and said, you got to play the piano. So I said, okay. You also learn to say yes to life. Say yes to life. 4 words. There's another 4 words for you. Say yes to life. Anybody here watch the series Julia Child? It's on Amazon or something. And at the very end, they're really stuck with Paul, her husband, and Julia are really hit with all of the vicissitudes and difficulties of life. And at the very end, I love this thing that Paul said to Julia. He said, Julia, let's just keep saying yes to life till we fall over dead one day. And I love that. Let's just keep saying yes to life. So life brings us lots of things. What would happen if we could practice to say yes to whatever shows up? So today in our practice, you'll notice we'll get very still, we'll get very quiet, and things will start to show up. And your question is this: can I hold this? Can I hold this with kindness? Whatever it is. So that's sort of an introduction, and I'd like to begin this morning. I told Kevin this, who was so kind to set up the room like I wanted it and have the fire. We needed the fire, my friends. I was so happy that we were able to have it. Water, air, earth, and fire. I also went out and I asked permission of this hemlock, and I couldn't get the white pine was what I was after, but it was too tall. But this is hemlock, which is not the hemlock that Socrates drank. In fact, it's not really even hemlock if you look it up, but it's a beloved plant all around in where we live in the Blue Ridge. And it is medicine, and I make tea from it. And most all of everything you look at in nature is either medicine or food or something. And this is loaded with vitamin C. When I was in Norway for the training, we used the buds of the spruce tree, the tiny buds at the end of the spruce tree for our tea, and it was just pungent and delicious. Well, white pine is also, and we have a lot of it. Actually, any pine in the southern seaboard, or actually all the way to Maine and Canada, are edible. Any part of the pine is edible, except for one, which I'm going to make you are going to have a test with me this morning, because you have to tell me what is the one pine that is not edible, and that is the ponderosa pine, which is the lodgepole pine. It's a wonderful pine in Colorado, where I used to live. It makes great teepees, and it's a wonderful tree, but it's not edible. So what is the one pine you may not make tea out of? You got it. Okay. Or the lodgepole. That's right. So I'd like to begin because I love history. You can't grow up in Savannah, Georgia as a little girl and not know you're in paradise. And I was in paradise driving through the apple orchards this morning very early coming from Bat Cave. But this morning I thought, I'm going to have to go back and honor where we are, the land where we are. And when I was talking with Kevin, I told him I was going to open with a poem from Carl Sandburg. And he started telling me the stories of how actually he and his wife walked over here regularly. And lots of stories. I'd like to begin with a poem that I have really enjoyed over many years. And I'm going to sit down. I want to make sure everybody can hear me, though. So raise your hand if you can't hear me. I don't want you to miss anything. Okay. Little girl, think of that little girl that you and I were. Maybe 7, maybe 5. Think of the time when you first learned language and words. Little girl, be careful what you say when you make talk with words. Words. For words are made of syllables, and syllables, child, are made of air. And air is so thin air is the breath of God. Air is finer than fire or mist, finer than water or moonlight, finer than spider webs in the moon, finer than water flowers in the morning. And words are strong, too, stronger than rocks or steel, stronger than potatoes, corn, fish, cattle, and soft, too. Soft as little pigeon eggs, soft as the music of hummingbird wings. So, little girl, when you speak greetings, when you tell jokes, make wishes or prayers, be careful, be careless, be careful, be what you wish to be. So I thank you for your forbearance today, because I have brought so many gifts for you, and I want to give them all, right? But I know that I have to return again and again to the still point to know. We're told, aren't we? Be still. What's the rest of that verse? Be still and know. So in stillness, we can know. We can count on it. So we've got some work to do today, because we can't step off a fast-moving train. We have to slow down before we can really be still. But we will. So I'm going to ring my bell here, and I had brought this reminder. I have your little flyer here. I don't know who did this, but this is exquisite. And I don't know who did the naming, but Patrice, you and a team probably did. But when she told me the title, I said, oh, I can work with that. There it is. I don't need any notes. This is it. Restore, renew, reconnect. That's what we're doing today. So to restore, to begin, we have to begin at the beginning. And when I ring the bell, I invite us to really hear all the way into the end of it. I'll probably ring it several times just to get it going. But just notice you're hearing the reverberation of the bell, and stay with it all the way to the close. And let that be your prompt for what comes next. If you want to close your eyes, you can, but that's not required. In fact, there are no requirements. You can stand up. And in most classes, I say you can lie down, but you probably wouldn't want to today. But you're welcome, whatever your body wants to do, to give it what it wants. I love to begin at the edge of my chair, because I was trained in Zen, Zazen, and Zen is what I needed, and it's Renzai Zen, which cuts away everything that's not real. That's what I needed. So that was my practice, and it's deep within me. But it doesn't matter. Everyone is unique. For years, I studied neuroscience and the neurodiversity. Did you know that every brain in this room is unique as a snowflake or your thumbprint? And the whole notion that one size fits all is just ludicrous, you know? So you can understand how happy I was to get to Finland, where they don't even have special education, which was my background, because they just work with whatever you come with. What you got is what you got. So the sky's the limit. If you have a limitation, you just come and do your best and be in the midst of whatever. It's extraordinary. So, thank you in advance for your patience with me as I employ the pause. That's another tool we're going to practice. In the pause, you will know the next thing to do. So as a teacher, for years, I learned to just pause, because there'd be so many. There might be 5 things I'd like to do, but lunch is in 30 minutes, and what is the most important thing? What needs to be done today at this time? So I would get still, and I would know. And I would trust it. Even more than that, I would trust it. And I have so many stories. I just heard a lot of stories come up that want to be told, but we'll see. Let me ring the bell. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh used to say, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. So I invite us all this morning to drop into awareness of our breath, wherever it is right now. Where's your breath? And feel that air maybe moving through the nostrils and into your body. And at some point, notice that it'll know when it wants to breathe back out. Feeling that air coming in through the nose, and then if you would allow it to be breathed out through your mouth very slowly. Softening the breath as you breathe. We're making a circle, breathing in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth. Just very gentle, soft breath, however you like to move it. Breathing is something we've done since we were born, right? It's the first act we had on earth. We breathed in a breath. And it's the last act we'll have on earth. When we leave, we'll breathe out our last breath. So our breath can become our best friend. We can really become acquainted with it and learn how to breathe more fully, more consciously aware that we're breathing. I invite you as we breathe to bring awareness to your belly and allow your belly to move as you breathe. See if you can move the muscles at your belly as you breathe. Breathing in, it pooches out, and breathing out, it comes in. It's lovely to know that as we continue to hold our awareness at our belly, which is soft, and breathe through our belly, you may know or remember you're breathing like a belly that a baby breathes. If you watch a baby breathe when you're sleeping, their belly moves up and down. Sometime around the time we start school, we start shallow breathing and then really forget to breathe with the belly. But we can relearn this, my friends, and as we do, I'll tell you a wonderful thing. As we breathe with the belly, we are switching on the vagus nerve in the brain, which turns on the relaxation center in the brain. So simply by remembering to breathe with the belly, our center, we're activating relaxation through the whole body. We're breathing in the oxygen it needs, and it's feeding all the cells of our body, washing and bathing all the cells of the body as we breathe in and slowly breathe out what the atmosphere needs. This reciprocity going on. And as we breathe more fully in our days, we feel freer. We are freer. Clarity of thinking arises. Calm awareness. Lowers the blood pressure or balances it. Balances heart rate. Strengthens the immune system. is happening right here. We were designed to be healthy and well. You have to work hard to screw that up, and we have. So we're learning to return. We're coming home to ourselves today. In a little bit, we'll have a walking meditation outside under the trees and really be able to become aware of this healing balm that is the breath of life. Breathing in, I relax my whole body. And breathing out, I smile. Maybe even a little Mona Lisa smile, but a little smile. Feel how that feels. It shifts everything. Thank you. I'd like to read some words that I often begin with when I'm not next to Carl Sandburg's home. And it's from Pablo Neruda, and I love this. It's called Keeping Quiet. You could just stay with the title. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once, on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Now I'll count up to 12, and you will keep quiet, and I will go. Earlier, I mentioned the word kindness. I'd like for you to take that word into your body and see what it feels in your body. This is our practice today, embodiment, really feeling our presence. We have been so top-heavy, my friends. It's all been, we thought this is what we are. It's not. Our core, our heart, is our true nature. And we have a brain and we can think. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. So kindness. How does that feel? I'd like to share a poem that's titled Kindness. Again, we could just stay with the title and just contemplate it. But I'll read the words by Naomi Shihab Nye. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in the white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows, and you will see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. So let's practice. I earlier introduced the Pali word, which is metta, M-E-T-T-A, and it simply means loving kindness. It's an ancient practice in the East, and it's not new to us, but I do believe that this embodiment is something I've been asked to share at the Church of the Transfiguration, which is my home church now in Bat Cave, and I've taught it in Finland. I've taught it, with school administrators. I've taught it on Zoom. Our presiding bishop, Michael Curry, taught me that. We once had a meeting with him, with the sisters at the convent. He's actually a member of the Community of the Transfiguration. His first church was St. Simon's in Lincoln Heights, which is right next to where the convent is, and I'm an oblate in the community, so I've been a part of many meetings. I picked him up at the airport one day, right after he'd become the presiding bishop. Sister Teresa said, could I go to the airport? I said, sure. So I had to stop at the cell phone lot and wait for his text. And I get a text and he says, I'm here. And so I texted back the stupidest thing I've ever said. I said, what are you wearing? This was actually a call. I didn't text it because I heard his voice. His voice came across and he says, I'll be the one in purple. He had on this long purple cassock. But later, much later, during the pandemic, when nobody could be together, and he was, needing to meet with us, he assured us that the Holy Spirit can so come through Zoom. And that Zoom is not a problem. It sort of set me free to be able, because I was asked to teach mindfulness to the University of Texas in San Antonio. My former dean was there as provost and wanted me to train the leadership of all the, anyway. And it was possible. It was not only possible, it was apparently very helpful. So we have no limitations. The only limitation we have, I've learned this in Finland too, is between our ears. Bless you. So let us practice this ancient practice of metta, loving kindness. I often hold my hands in prayer position, but it's not necessary. And again, you can sit or stand. Welcome to sit on the floor or stand if you'd like to take a break. But the first thing we do, and this won't surprise you, or maybe it will, it surprised me. I was first taught this by Sylvia Borston, who is a brilliant teacher. And so many wonderful stories from her I'd like to share. But she was the first, and then Sharon Salzberg is another more recently. She wrote a whole book on loving kindness. But this practice is so simple, but it's not easy. So we begin with ourselves. I'm telling you, we can't leapfrog over ourselves and say, oh, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to be kind. We have to begin up close and personal. And some of us, like me, struggle still to this day because there's so much embedded in me to give, right? Which we were asked to. But I don't know about you. Has anybody ever thought of this? To me, it's a real conundrum. Jesus said to love thy neighbor as... What did he say? I completely missed that as a child. I mean, I heard it, I memorized it, I knew it, but it was like, oh yeah, sure, I love myself. I would never say to you or anybody the things that I say to myself. We've got to stop it. We're laughing, and we have to laugh because it's so sad, but we have been very mean to this person. We have said some terrible, we would never speak like that to someone we love, would we? No. So let's stop it. We can do that. And what happens is, this is a very forgiving practice. I learned that from John Kabat-Zinn, MD. It's a very forgiving practice because we screw up, we forget, but we remember, and then we come back again and again. So we don't berate ourselves. We go, we're human. Let's all say that real loudly together. We're human. So let's celebrate it. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. In fact, in my primary classroom, I put it on the wall. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Let's all say that. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Whew. Glad we got that out. And that doesn't mean we don't need to take exquisite care in the moment. We want to get this right. We want to be our true selves. We really want that, and we are already pure in heart. We were born pure in heart. And we can learn through this practice to come home to that again and again. Another book John Kabat-Zinn wrote, if you're into reading, is Coming to Our Senses. We're coming to our senses. We've been walking around in this body, this house of being, and, we've been missing in action. We thought we were our thoughts, and so we were out thinking about living. I have friends who say, oh, I do mindfulness. No, they're not. They're thinking about doing mindfulness. I have a friend who exercises in her imagination. So, folks, it's time to come home. It's time to come home. Time to come home to ourselves. So this is the hard work we're facing in the next few minutes. Here's what we're going to say. And I think I'll actually I've got some beautiful things that I have used over the years, but I last night saw this and I thought, well, why not? Why don't I share the gold? And so I'm going to invite you now to close your eyes if you like. You don't have to, but if you like. I'd like for you to now, you can put your hands in prayer position or over your heart or just relaxed on your legs or fold them, whatever you want. And really just be aware of your breath. And I do invite you to soften your face. Soften the space at the backs of your eyes, your optic nerve. Just let that space become soft and melt and dissolve. Soften your throat and where your voice box is. Soften your throat, your voice. And soften your heart. A soft heart can bring a clear mind. And now the belly. Soften your belly. Really feel your breath at your belly. That's your core. That's your center. And down to your knees and your calves and your ankles and your feet. Wiggle your toes. Feel your toes. This amazing body we have. Breathing in some deep breaths now. Really feel your presence. Feeling the spaciousness of your presence, the space in front of you, the space behind you. Aware of the spaciousness above your head, above your hairline. Think of it. There's planets and stars up there. We can't see them because of the sunlight, but they're there. The spaciousness above you. And the spaciousness beneath us. Down deep into the earth. How far? Maybe to the other side of the earth. And out the other side. To space. Here we are in this vast presence. I'm going to read some words slowly. And I'm going to just read them and let you feel them. And then we'll practice by speaking some. But right now, just feel these words. May I have physical well-being. Feel that in your body. May I have physical well-being. May I make a friend of my body. May I make a friend of my body. May I embody my love and my understanding. May I know physical happiness and the causes of physical happiness. May I live with ease. May the elements of daily life, work, family, go easily and not be a struggle. May I live with ease of well-being. May loving kindness manifest in my life. May I be filled with loving kindness, held in loving kindness. May I be held in the heart of love. So now, as we've sort of had a taste of that, let's give it a go. I'll say it and you say it after me. May I be well.
May I be well.
May I be safe.
May I be safe.
May I be happy.
May I be happy.
May I live with ease.
May I live with ease.
And now I invite you to think of someone who's dear to you, someone who's maybe been a benefactor to you, or someone who comes to mind that you love. May you be well.
May you be well.
May you be safe.
May you be safe.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you live with ease.
May you live with ease.
Now I invite us all to think of someone that you don't know very well, but maybe you see now and then. I often think of my hairdresser, but it could be somebody at the grocery or someone that you see now and then. Everybody got one? Give me a thumbs up if you've got somebody that's just, you don't know real well, but you see now and then. Someone in mind. May you be well.
May you be well.
May you be safe.
May you be safe.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you live with ease.
May you live with ease.
And now I invite us all to bring to mind someone who is a challenge in your life, someone who's very difficult to be around, or someone who just irritates you, or that you are aware of just not being at ease with. Think of that person now and bring them before you. May you be well.
May you be well.
May you be safe.
May you be safe.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you live with ease.
May you live with ease.
Now at home, when you do this practice, you might think of your neighborhood or your neighbors around your house, or the town that you live in, or where I live. There's no town, but there's many beings and neighbors up the mountain. So it's good to kind of, broaden out the circle a little bit. May you be well.
May you be well.
May you be safe.
May you be safe.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you live with ease.
May you live with ease.
And the beauty of this practice is we can widen the circle as large as we can imagine. All the countries of this world, and all the continents, and all the creatures in the seas, and all the birds of the air, and all of life, and all of the solar system and the universe. Where it ends is up to our imagination. May you be well. May you be safe.
May you be safe.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you live with ease.
May you live with ease.
Thank you. It's just a brief introduction, but I know you feel the presence of this blessing in you, right? How many of you can feel it in your bodies? This is what we want to come back to again and again. Now this thing, the thinking mind, it'll come up with, it'll say anything. We've got our own little Taliban in here. Our mind, no, I'm not kidding. This mind of mine, it will say, well, that's not going to work for the people that don't have any food, or that blah, 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 blah. It's got a whole litany. That's not what this is about. This is about being quiet. Shh, quiet. Still. Stop it. For one time on earth, let there be a place that's safe to allow this finer self to be known. We have so much strength in us, and we all know that. But we rarely really give gratitude for this feeling that we've just embodied. So I invite us all to just practice whatever's natural for you during your day. And I'll tell you a secret. It's not really a secret. That part about when you get to someone difficult, remember that? Boy, first time I did that, I thought, I can't do this. But I have been for years now. And the secret is this. Don't tell anybody. Those people are not difficult anymore. I don't understand how this works. I don't get it. I just know it works. And you know what's happening is, I was talking with someone earlier at the breakfast who's suffering. And we talked about how this practice doesn't take the suffering away. Like all the work that John Kabat-Zinn did at the University of Massachusetts Medical Center, he, 30, 40 years now ago, had people in the hospital that were hurting so badly, they were in so much pain, they couldn't give those people enough medicine to get rid of the pain. And he knew he had the deep medicine. So he began the Center for Mindfulness and taught this to patients. And he knew what would happen, because what changes is, it doesn't mean that once you learn these practices, you still don't experience depression or pain or suffering or sadness or whatever. Those things still arise because what? What are we? Human. So they arise, but what changes is our relationship to the pain. I imagine, I don't know, and I'll never know because I'm never going to do this. I hope, Lord, please don't ask me to do this. Walk on coals, burning coals. But those people are fine. It's not a problem. That's how incredibly resilient our mind is and our ability. So this beauty of waking up, that's what it is. It's waking up. Can you let her in, please? Thank you. It's our full stop time. We're doing great. What I'd love to do right now is something also that I've not ever done before with this group, but I would invite us to have an experience of embodiment with meditation in a different way, and it's called walking meditation. But I'd like for us to sit for just a little bit longer to really drop into this depth of stillness in ourselves. I know you're already in touch with it and know it, but I'd like for us to really anchor it into our bodies in this way. Did everybody hear what I said that we do when we breathe from our belly? It's very powerful. If you don't remember anything, remember this. When we breathe from this part of the body, and in the East, they call this the dantian. It's below the belly button. Everybody put your finger or thumb on your belly button. Just remember that as an anchor for you, because that really is our center. And the belly, as we learn to breathe through the belly, I really implore you to do this. I learned it when I first I'd lay down at sleep to go to sleep at night and feel my belly moving, just to practice knowing I had that cognizance of that muscle that's moving as I breathe. Or I do it when I first wake up in the morning, before I step my feet off the side of the bed, just aware of that practice. Because you're switching on the vagus nerve in the brain, that particular part in the back right there, switches on the vagus nerve in the brain, which turns on the relaxation centers in the brain. So your body comes into this relaxation very, very naturally. As I said, babies breathe with the belly. So as we practice this, we just begin to be able to access it in a physical way and in a mental way, because we remember to come back. Remember what JKZ, John Kabat-Zinn, said, that, it's a forgiving practice. We forget. We say things we shouldn't. We do things we know we shouldn't. But every time we see it, here's the great news. If you're aware of it, see, the terrible thing is when you cause suffering for someone and you don't know it. That's the worst thing for me that can happen. I recently found out that happened, and I won't say devastated, but it was pretty close. I had no idea. And I told her, I wrote to her, and I said, the worst thing that can happen is causing suffering for someone and not know it. Because then as we begin to know it, we can, what? We can stop those habits or things or whatever. We can wake up. In this lifetime, it's possible to wake up and be aware that we're breathing in when we breathe in and breathing out and saying the words we're saying, and we can choose. Before we do this, I got to tell you a story. It's a very, very old story. Some of you probably know this because you're a very intelligent group. You probably read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. In that book, he's in the Auschwitz. He was a psychotherapist, so he had a lot of training before he was locked up. But when he was there, and of course, what is there a lot of when you're in a cell by yourself? Quiet and stillness. So he's contemplating and he's going deep. And when they would bring his food or water or whatever, he woke up one day and realized between stimulus and response, there's a space. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space, we have a choice of how we respond. And nobody can take that away. And he woke up to that he was free to have the response to whatever was going on, and he lived to tell the story. So I love knowing that as something that's a tool, another tool for our mindfulness toolkit that we can take today. There's always a little space, and the more we become awake to the things that we say or do or think, we begin to have a choice. It's like, oh, I could really pause. I could be still. I could be quiet. And more aptly practice loving kindness. So we're going to do this walking meditation. It's no different from sitting meditation because you're aware of your feet. You can feel your feet right now, right? If you've got your legs crossed, just uncross them long enough to really feel both feet. So you've got your anchor there, right? Your feet. That's what we're going to do in the walking meditation. We're going to go slowly, but we're going to walk outside. We're not going to speak. We're going to use noble silence. And here's how we're going to manage our hands. We're going to have one hand down like this, like a cup. Doesn't matter which one. The other hand will just drop into that hand. So let's all stand, if you like. And those of you who would like to have a shorter walk, you can. What we're going to do is go out the steps down here and go to the right. And we're going to have a slow walk in the trees. There's a path. And we'll walk around and come back around that path. And then we'll come in the front door here where there's no steps. Okay? Well done. It's difficult to be silent, but to taste it can make us want more and really appreciate the gifts herein. There are many, many gifts in silence and stillness. and relaxation. If I only had one gift I could give you, it would be relaxation and more sleep. Rest. Not just for our souls, but for our bodies. Good rest. So, among the tools that you'll have today, or my friend Reverend Patricia Askew is going to be helping you with some beads and having your own and understanding an ancient tool that the ancient mothers and fathers knew to help be still. It's when every time you touch that bead, you can anchor in back to the breath, back to your depth and quiet. It's a brilliant tool. Someone asked me recently, how do you do all the stuff you're doing? And I say, I don't have a clue. I don't know how I do what I do. But I trust my body, and I trust what I notice. I pay attention. I learned years ago, I had to, in teaching, what we pay attention to increases. And now we know we have that space where we can choose what we pay attention to. As a child, I loved the verse, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are of good report, think on these things. I loved it. And I still love it. But I love it now because I'm more awake. And I see the impact it's having in me. When I was young and lived in Colorado, I dated a pilot. And a friend of mine was a stewardess, and her friend was a pilot. And she put me together with him one night. We went out, and I said to him at dinner, I said, aren't you afraid, to have the responsibility of all those people on the plane? He said, oh, no, I'm just out for number one. If I get there, they'll follow. I say that in all levity and seriousness. If we take care here, my friends, deeply, passionately, lovingly, kindly, being kind to ourselves, it will spill over. It will be kindness in the world. So here's something I noticed at Christmas. My beloved daughter-in-law, I call her, Annie Louise Perkinson, down at Flying Cloud Farm, gave me this book, The Way of the Rose. And then she went down to Mexico and came back with these exquisite beads, rosary, and they have Mary on them, and you can look at them, but each little bead, at the different parts. Now this is, of course, Catholic, not ours, but same thing, same, just different, and this beautiful picture of Mary. And I did not, as a Baptist, grow up in Savannah with knowing Mary, although a very strong Catholic presence in Savannah, and I love that, and I love seeing the sisters, but they were just kind of in the periphery for me. But I love learning the Bible and Scripture, because it's all in me now. It's there. It just comes out. But this book has been just so precious to me, because I really got to know her. And this isn't written by Catholic people either. It was written by a Zen monk, former Zen monk, and his wife, who's a writer. So it's amazing an experience. Mary kept showing up in their lives and all the rosary, and they ended up going to France and in the caves, and just a wonderful thing. But I just thought, when I found out about Patricia, what she's doing, I thought, how interesting. And you'll find, and this is one thing that I really love that we're doing today, I'm going to ask us each to really seriously consider, what is what is our highest aspiration to do in this incarnation? I mean, when we leave, what do we want to be left behind? And I'm saying this because we can actually do this. We can use our imagination each day to be more fully present instead of listening to this inner radio and TV going, and quiet it and begin to let the wisdom and compassion really arise in us. And we'll see that what we need comes to us. What we need is drawn to us, just like a magnet. We begin to draw all things to us that are feeding us, that are filling our souls, that are allowing us to be kind. Because we're remembering. We forget, because we're human, but then we remember. Again and again, we forgive ourselves. And we take a breath. And we come back. And we help one another. When one of us is suffering, we can help. When we're suffering, someone else will be there for us. They will. And it may be somebody we don't even know. Did you ever have that happen? I've been really gloomy, feeling hurt and sad, and walk into a grocery store, and somebody smiles at me, this genuine, true being smile. And I'm transformed. It's like, hi. We can do this. And by the way, as we were walking, I thought, go back inside and tell them they don't have to smile. Sometimes you don't feel like smiling. I'm not saying you got to smile. I just wanted you to know how powerful it is. Did everybody get that? Raise your hand if you understand. I'm not saying you have to smile. I just wanted you to know how powerful it is. In your own body, you can be by yourself, you know? And what is it you have? A choice. You can bitch and moan, or you could be grateful. My friend back here talked about gratitude this morning. Changes everything. But it's not being grateful for something. It's being grateful in all things. All hell can be breaking loose. But you're present. You're present and accounted for. You're awake in it. But it doesn't feel good. I want to turn away. Do not turn away from the darkness. That's where the gold is. That's where the blessing, the gift is. We all have a shadow. And in that shadow, when we are facing it, and by that I don't mean anything too bold, but just simply being with it, being with what is. You don't have to do anything. Just don't turn away. Just sit there with the discomfort or the whatever. Can I hold this with kindness? May not feel like it. You don't have to feel like it. That's the great thing about this practice. You don't have to feel like it. You just remember, I can be kind. Everyone is suffering. Everyone is suffering. How could we be other than kind? That's my question every day. Everyone we meet has some suffering. And we're here. We're still alive. You know, our great-grandmothers are long gone, but we're still here. Their blood is pumping in our veins, and we're alive. Let us, what was it? Say yes to life till we fall over dead. Let's do it. Let's choose life. Choose to say yes. In the midst of whatever is arising, we can be present. I love this practice, and I want to say I have no apologies about not using Jesus' name a lot. I love Jesus, and Jesus knows it. I loved walking past a board over here, one of the Sunday school rooms or something. It said, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. How many of us learned that? I did. I sang it when I was probably old enough to not even know anything. I was singing that song. Well, it's still true. All the children, all of them? Well, maybe not those. No. He really does. I really do. I can. Because I don't believe. I experience. Now, hang on to your chair for a minute. I'm going to go for the gold here. I gave up on belief years ago. I was suffering. And I actually... I won't go into details, but I was standing in a public place when this hit me. It usually is some place where you can't scream out or say anything. But I was talking on the phone to my counselor in Texas, and I said, I realize beliefs will kill you. There are people who strap explosives to their bodies and blow themselves up because of their beliefs. I'm interested in what I know. What I know in this body. I feel the presence. I am not believing it. I know it. It's closer than breathing. It's nearer than hands and feet. It's the way we're designed. You know, we were designed to be healthy and whole. And I think happiness has been, you know, the whole, what is his name? His Holiness the Dalai Lama, whom I really love. He is all about happiness. But, you know, for years, I couldn't claim it. And when I learned metta, I changed it out. I didn't say happiness. I said, may I be well, may I be safe, may I come to know my true nature. That was my deepest prayer, that I could really know that I am goodness, that I could really feel it. I really know that at my core, babies know this. There's a lot of research now. I mean, it is cool, the stuff that we know now because of science. Science is coming around. Quantum physics, all of it all of this is true. We really are made of the stuff of stars. You know, it's amazing the things that we can come to know. But it's not through the thinking mind. It's not, oh, I've got so much knowledge. Anybody can have knowledge. It's wisdom. Wisdom can only come from deep within. And it's already here. We don't have to try. That's the real joke. We already have what we need. But this thing will talk you out of it. Well, no, I can't be happy. I had all these things happen to me. I had all this stuff. Well, right. That's the data. That's just data. Thank you very much. But it's also true that I'm breathing. Does anybody understand how you breathe? Do you know how you got this body? How'd you do that? Do you know how to breathe? Do you know what breath is? How did you get that first breath? Does anybody know? We are on our knees before this mystery, right? Anybody with me out there? Am I making sense? We are in a place of deep humility here. When my beloved died and I had to hold the cross at his funeral, and his grandchildren came up and said, Maddie, you're so strong. You know what came out of my mouth? I of myself can do nothing. I can't even tie my own shoes. I have no idea how I still have breath in my body, but I know I do. I know I'm here. So I want to be my best. So I'm going to ring the bell, and I want you to seriously consider, what is my highest work that I want in this life?
To go, right? You fix any problem. Or try to fix it. Whatever. All right, well, let me tell you something before you start. Several things, actually. There are several that look just like yours. So, you don't want to get extra grocery kits. So if you have a friend or something you want to make a rosary for, come see me. And I think we're going to charge $10. Let me tell you an important thing when you're starting one. I hope nobody's done it wrong. You see the two threads coming off your cross, right? Okay. On that first little bit where I have written here, these are strung on